And really, they have only way to go is up for this Virginia Tech team. They've done some great things recruiting under Brent Pry this year. Obviously, the hype is real. Hokie fans are always in full force for this team, so expectations will always be high there. And I know Grant Wells feels that because he grew up a Virginia Tech guy.
Right, with that said, let's go to Blacksburg, see how he's doing. First of all, Grant, good seeing you again. I saw you last year when we were doing our camp tours, and you had still one of the best answers to any question when we asked you about your roommate, and you said, well, I got the best roommate in the world. I'm engaged. And we were like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. So hopefully everybody's happy on that front. But now that you've been through this before, does it feel like it's a little more like in slow motion this spring in Blacksburg?
Yeah, I think, second time around is always a little bit easier, always a little bit slower. So I think, we're having a really good spring so far, and we're ready to end it on Saturday.
How does this spring specifically feel different for you, Grant? Like in what aspect of your game or just in general with being with this team?
Yeah, well, we obviously made a change in the quarterback room. Coach Bowen is in our room now, so it's a little bit different hearing from him on a day-to-day basis, and it makes the offense a lot easier when you're a quarterback talking directly to the offensive coordinator. So I think we're super excited about having that change and grow from last year.
I also sense that there's a sense of happiness in terms of having more weapons to throw to. And given what's happened in recruiting and the transfer portal in particular, it feels on paper from our perspective, again, you get a front row seat, that Virginia Tech should be more explosive offensively in 23.
Yeah, we had some pretty big additions to the offense, especially in the wide receiver position. We lost a couple guys, but I thought we gained some very key receivers in the running back or in the wide receiver room and also in the running back room. So I think we're super excited about who we have, and I think we have more than enough to do well this season.
I know there are a lot of people who are high on Ollie Jennings. It's a name that will probably be repeated for the months leading up to football season. And I know it's a guy that you kind of know from the other side of things because at Marshall you played against him when he was at ODU, and then last year you play against him when he's at ODU. Now he's on your team. What's it been like of the many receivers you do have developing that relationship with him now that you're together as one?
Yeah, spring ball is big on developing a lot of those relationships that you might not have had in the fall. So especially with a guy like Ali, he has a lot of experience in big games, and it shows this spring. He's making some big time catches and really bringing that whole receiver room up with him and creating a lot of competition in there.
Some fun homecoming games, right? You open with ODU, so Jennings will know a bunch of guys there. You got a road trip to Marshall later in the month. I mean, the schedule's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're super excited. You mentioned the 2 homecoming games, but I think we're really excited about the season, and we can't wait to get to fall.
One thing that coach did, and he was very open about it, is saying, hey, we're going to bring in some competition at quarterback just so everybody can push each other for some healthy competition. How have you responded, do you feel like, to the competition? How has that kind of played out in that QB room? Because like I said, it can be a healthy thing, and when you're trying to push yourself to be better day in and day out.
Yeah, I think it's completely healthy. We knew that with Jason leaving last year that that opened a spot in the quarterback room, and we brought Kyron in, and he's a mature guy. We learned a lot from each other. Watching each other's reps and feeding information off each other. So we have a pretty healthy quarterback room right now, and I think we only make each other better.
Grant, one of the things you talked about last year with us when we were in town was decision making. That was one of the things that you wanted to improve on in the 22 campaign. Now that you've been through it, you go through another spring. What have you worked on from that perspective to improve that part of your game?
Yeah, a lot of that just comes with the second year in the offense. The second year in the offense, you understand why a lot of things are being called, and why you like certain plays against certain looks, and a lot of that comes back to me knowing Coach Bowen more and being in the same room with him, talking to him every single day only improves that, and I think that'll slow everything down a little bit and make it a lot more efficient.
So when you're looking at this team, Grant, because you're there day in and day out, what excites you most about the potential for this upcoming season? What gets your blood flowing?
I mentioned a little bit earlier, but Coach Bone says it all the time. He says, we have enough players in the room to achieve all our goals and really make an impact in this conference. And, I think everybody in our unit fully believes that. So we're super excited about who we have in the room. And, the only way up the only way to go is up.
We've had a good time getting to know Brent Pry. How has that been for you? Because, again, we probably see a completely different universe than you do from that perspective, but he's such a gregarious guy. I suspect that practices and conversations with him after a practice or whatever the case may be, he's got to be fascinating.
Yeah, he's not very much different than he is in public. So, he's very outgoing and loves competition. I think, that is one thing that has been big this spring is competition, whether that's in the position rooms or offense, defense, or whatever. But that's something that he's big on, and I think it's made a big difference this spring.
Okay, so with that being said, you go up against this Virginia Tech defense all the time at practice. What differences do you see defensively from your vantage point that's been improved?
Well, it all starts with, the front four. I think they're, a really productive group last year, and I think they've only improved this year. So I think our defense goes as they go, and, they're a big, mature group, and I'm really excited to see them work this year.
By the way, since Pry's such a defensive guy, does he even give time? You talked about that relationship you have with him, but I know at heart he's a defensive dude now.
Oh, he's a defensive dude. He calls who wins the period, and we know on offense that he gives a little bit more to the defense than probably should.
Let it slide a little bit. So one of the things I saw on social was the other day, the social media team will put out the camera after practice and they'll post a question and you guys have to answer it. And the last one was, who would play you in a movie? And you came up real quick. You came and you went real quick, but you said Morgan Freeman would play you in a movie. And I need a further explanation on why you went with Morgan Freeman.
Just based on his voice. He has the best voice in all of Hollywood. So, I love his movies. So, why not?
What were you going to say?
I pinned you more of like a Chad Michael Murray kind of guy. That's a good one. I know Coach said Denzel Washington. What do we think about that?
I did see that. He went way before me, so I didn't get to hear that. So I was very surprised to see that on the video.
Well, listen, we wish you the best. And by the way, everything good at home? Because you did, like I said, you had the best answer of the entire tour last year with your roommate routine. So everything good? It's a whole different universe,
good.
Right? Good.
Oh, everything's good. Big days in May, so
oh,
will be good after that.
So we're coming up on it, is what you're telling me.
We're coming up on it.
Now, have you already learned that when your better half says, "Hey, look, here's what we're going to do," you say, "That's absolutely right, dear." Because that's how that works.
Oh, trust me, I've learned that.
You see, led with "Trust me," Pack. Trust me.
That's called. You know what? That's called leadership, Grant. That's called leadership. You'll live a long, happy life with that theory. I promise you.
Come on.
No, I'm just telling you. You just got to know your role, right? Just know your place. We wish you the best, man. Have a great year.
Thanks, Grant.
All right, thank you guys.
You got it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pack, who would you pick to play you in a movie?